slowly but surely, we are moving in the right direction. We're on the right track. The economy is getting stronger, but it really suffered a big trauma. And we're not going to get all 8 million jobs that were lost back overnight. It's going to take some time.
Some time, as in almost certainly not before November.
Yeah, now he only has to hope that he can do it sometime before 2012. Top Line starts right now.
Hello and welcome to ABC News Washington Post Top Line. I'm Rick Klein.
And I'm Amy Walter.
Every day at noon Eastern, we're right here bringing you the latest in politics, everything you need to know before you head out that door to lunch. And I am pleased to welcome to the ABC family Amy Walter, our brand new political director, joining us for her debut performance here on Top Line. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you very much.
Do the honors. Lead us off today.
That's so exciting. I've been waiting.
Good.
To be able to start us off with our first Top Line Patience Now. President Obama, of course, wrapping up his 3 days of campaigning with a tweaked message: stick with Democrats because the economy is taking time to heal.
This is a little bit different than the triumphant declarations we've heard of welcome to the recovery or the economy's moving. For a long time, the White House did expect to see job growth by now, sustained job growth. Now it's clear that by the end of this summer of recovery, there will be fewer jobs in the United States than at the beginning of it. That's called a political problem.
That is.
Next up, Murray's margin. Senator Patty Murray comes out on top in the jungle primary out in Washington, where all the candidates, regardless of party affiliation, are on the same ballot. But she didn't win by an overwhelming margin. Dino Rossi is tight on the heels, and it sets up an intriguing matchup for the fall. One of those matchups that we're going to be watching very carefully for control of the Senate. And what's interesting here, Amy, is that you had almost as many Democrats voting for Democratic candidates as the Republican votes. So it does suggest that this is going to be tight.
This is going to be one of those races that goes absolutely down to the wire. And we've seen those in past elections where we had a big year like in 1992 or 2000, 2004. There are also some House races, too, that we should probably be checking in a little bit later where Republicans had a better night than Democrats. So turnout, enthusiasm gap, something we're going to be looking at a lot this year.
That's right.
Washington State's a big place to go.
Next up,
see, this is my debut. Blago Redux. All right, Rod Blagojevich, as we all know by now, made it with only one count out of 24. Of course, the federal prosecutors saying they're coming and bringing the trial back, or expect to bring the trial back just in time for the fall campaign. I'm sure it's something that Illinois Democrats are so excited about, to make sure that they get to put him on trial not once, but twice before voters.
And the show continues. But keep in mind, this man is now a convicted felon. He was convicted of a felony yesterday, and he serves up to maybe up to 5 years in prison. But this is going to be a new spectacle for Democrats to deal with. They wanted Blago to go away. Clearly, that's not going to happen anytime soon. And finally, today, it's puncturing Palin. Sarah Palin suffers a couple of defeats yesterday in key races. Her preferred candidates for governor of Wyoming and also for Senate in Washington came up short, and we've seen her batting average dip pretty significantly recently, Amy. And on top of that, it seems that the Mama Grizzlies are coming after her. Take a look at this ad. This is from Emily's List.
But believe me, there are plenty of Mama Grizzlies out there who would disagree with you.
So you're right.
You don't want to mess with Mama Grizzlies.
You do not, indeed, and
No,
there they
you
are.
don't.
They're amassing on the other side. Thank God she's added this to the political lexicon.
And the thing about Sarah Palin and her endorsements that I think is important to note is the fact that in states that matter in the presidential contest, Iowa, South Carolina, New Hampshire, she's been very conservative in her picks and sort of gone with the establishment candidates. In the places where there's not as much at stake, she's taken a flyer and gone with the more conservative candidate. I think it helps her with her base, and it really doesn't hurt her among the chattering class and the folks in those big 3 states.
And we are chattering, indeed.
Yes,
we're joined now, speaking of Alaska, former senator from Alaska, Mike Gravel, a Democrat who ran for president, of course, in 2008 as well. Thank you and welcome to Top Line, Senator.
Thank you for having me. Amy, congratulations on
Thank you very much.
I want to start because a lot of the questions we got over the Twitter universe just basically had this to say. They said, what's Mike Gravel up to these days? And I know you've got a new TV, you're now a TV star. You couldn't be president, so you can play one on TV?
Yeah, that's right. It's a cross between The West Wing and The Office. It's a mockumentary where I've been virally elected president, and I turn around and spoof and take on all the silliness in government. And in addition to that, we ask people at the end of the program to vote on the issues. So it's participatory and mockumentary. It's not like the other political programs out there, and it will be humorous because, my God, things are so bad you have to laugh.
Well, are you trying to get a message across in this show? Is there an agenda here?
You better believe.
Yeah, I would assume so, based on.
The agenda is to, in fact, Will and Oriel Durant made a comment in their lessons of history, and that was that the most efficient way to pique the conscience is through humor. Could you believe? And so that's what I'm going to try to do, is to not only spoof, but the spoofing is with a purpose to show people how silly we are politically at this time in our lives.
And some physical humor as well, right?
We've
got a clip. Let's cue this up. Let's take a look. This is at Gravel TV.
New president in the White House.
Mr. President, it's a pleasure to meet you. Lloyd Blankfein, CEO of Goldman Sachs. I assume you want to discuss which members of my company will be a part of your cabinet.
No.
Then why did you ask me here?
So that I could do this. That's for the American people.
There's our message, I suppose.
Oh, we got another one coming up. We're going to take a wrecking ball, and I'm destroying their building. It's called breaking up the banks.
Excellent.
All right, so are you taking on any politicians in this? And specifically, the Obama administration, for example?
Yes, we will.
Okay.
Yes, we will. Like with respect to Obama, we'll take on the health care, which is a subsidy to the insurance companies. We'll take on the war in Afghanistan. We'll take on the success, quote, of the war in Iraq. We'll take on a whole host of areas. The inability to get a decent energy bill through the Congress. But it's not only Obama's fault. I take on the Congress because what the special interests can't secure with the presidency, they secure with the Congress. And then, of course, our relationship worldwide, like with NATO, I take on NATO. I take on the military-industrial complex. Stop and think. This is the funniest and the dumbest thing in the world. We spend more in defense than all the rest of the world put together, and nobody's taking to the streets, and there's not even a threat to the United States. It's so phony about the threat. Like our nuclear capability, we're spending more money expanding our nuclear capability than before all this rhubarb that we had signing the agreement with Russia.
We had this extraordinary moment last week where we had the White House press secretary take on the so-called professional left and really criticize it. It exposed this split that we've seen for a long time between liberals and the Obama White House. What is the state of the relationship in your mind? How are liberals and progressives viewing the White House?
With a jaundiced eye. And I don't think that there's anything that Obama can do between now and 12 to change that. But it's always in politics a lesser of evils. You know, here, you got McCain or Obama. That's not a big choice to make for progressives or liberals. You've got either the Republicans always saying, oh, the Democrats are weak on defense, and the Republicans are stupid on defense. So these contrasts are difficult to make, and that's the reason why I think appeal to humor. One of the things that you'll particularly enjoy is that I'll be interviewing an actress who looks just like Sarah Palin. And I'd like to have Sarah Palin as the virally elected vice president when I'm president.
That's a ticket. Now
you're talking about humor, conflict, and all of that, which will be very edifying to the public.
Do you think she runs in 2012?
Oh, there's no question about that. Is she going to be a meaningful candidate? I think so. I don't think she'll get the nomination, but she'll be a meaningful candidate in 2012. She's a very talented political person. Intellectually, I think that leaves to be desired. But from a political, outright gifted person, I don't know of anybody better on the scene other than Obama.
Now, I assume the answer to this, based on your facial hair, is no, but any chance you run again?
Well, the facial hair is what's going to keep me out, believe it.
Well, you can shave before 2012.
But if I can get the national initiative enacted into law into the United States, I'll be able to do more than any president.
Do you think? Would you like to see a liberal challenger to President Obama in the primaries in 2012?
Well, I would not say like to see. I would like to see issues raised Now, that's one of the things.
There's a way to raise issues.
That's exactly right. Kucinich did that. I did that. Ralph Nader did that. These guys, I don't think Kucinich would run against an incumbent Democrat, but Nader is on the scene. I may be on the scene. I don't know. I want to concentrate on the show. I Like Mike, and people can go to the website. I Like Mike TV.
We're all about the plugs. That's great. Now, the most popular question we had on Twitter, though, was to somehow reenact the very famous moment where you drop that rock in the lake. Now, we don't have those kind of production facilities. We do have mugs, though, with water. So I would ask you very kindly, please do the drop.
Can I drop this in your
Please, please do.
Okay,
please
what
do.
it is now here. What you got to see are the ripples.
The ripples. Okay.
The ripples.
We'll do it in slow motion.
And the meaning.
We love it.
The deep meaning of that.
We love it. All right.
That's
Mike
right.
Gravel, former senator from Alaska, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate it. Welcome to Top Line.
Appreciate it.